You're listening to Standing in Fire. Well, hello everybody out there in internet land. I'm telling you what, we have the single greatest episode of Standing in Fire that could ever possibly have ever been invented by a human being. In fact, it wasn't. It was invented by an archai. That's right. This is the ultimate in Standing in Fire. I am joined as always by Tess and Militus, but tonight we have a very, very special guest. We've got Minus, who is coming to us, I should say, from Pantheon Plus. And we're going to talk all about Pantheon Plus. Minus, how are you doing?
What is up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh, this is going to be great.
I'm so excited.
You know, I just got to say, hold on, before we get started, I just got to say this to Minus.
Go ahead and,
A dude with that kind of beard can never be a halfling. I'm sorry, man. If you have that manly of a beard,
I know.
Dude, you can't be a halfling with that.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you saying that halflings can't be masculine?
I'm saying when he rocks that kind of beard, he's got
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Dwarf.
You're saying I need to be a female dwarf with a beard. That's what
The
you're
dwarf,
saying.
dude.
Well,
Look at my dwarf on my wall.
Yeah.
You see his rocking.
Yeah,
He's got a beard that he's envious of Minus.
I know Minus already looks like that. Yeah, he's envy. Yeah, you're right. The dwarves of the game are already jealous. They're.
I mean, he's got the beard. Yeah.
They modeled the archai after me. It's only natural that they modeled the dwarf after Minus, but he's got a gnome up there. That's who he wants. He wants to be a gnome, and I'm not sure what that's about.
Although the gnomes
They're
look cool as
glowy.
hell. Yeah, they look cool.
Think about any transmog I've ever done in WoW. It started with a really glowy item.
It always starts with a glow.
Your whole body is glowy. That's awesome. Well, that's awesome. Well, we got a bunch of things to get into. I want to kick this show off and so we can just jump right into it. So, Tess, tell everybody how they can get a hold of us.
I got this.
All right.
Okay, to contact us, you can visit our website. I hate you so much, Militus. I knew you were going to do that. You can visit our website at stopstandinginfire.com. You can email us. You can email us at stopstandinginfire@gmail.com. You can tweet us at SIF Podcast, or you could call or text us at 702-625-1337.
That spells leads. Hell yeah.
That's right. And in case you don't know, the reason that spells leet, by the way, and the reason that we said that, Militus used to always go, that spells leet. And it was always this really funny little thing.
I would sing it.
And Coltrane heard that, and then Coltrane re-recorded us something with a little more punch.
Yeah.
Well, here's the question. Do you think it's time for me to do a new jingle?
No, that
I
jingle,
don't know. I quite
jingle's
like your
timeless.
jingle.
Yeah, that jingle
You
is
like it?
timeless.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Because I could try to do a heavy metal.
I think you could do a Pantheon.
I don't know if I could do
general.
it.
We could work on something like that. Well, hey guys, I got a couple things. We did have a text message this week that came to us on the text line, and you can just text us. So let's just. I'm gonna paint a scenario for you. You're at work, right? You work at Home Depot. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe you're a Baylor Bear. I don't know. Sometimes Baylor Bears listen to us too. I don't know. You're one of those two things. You're bored. There is nothing going on. You have not too much going on. And you're thinking, what could I do right now? Immediately think of 702-625-1337. Send in a text message. Then we talk about what you say on your text message here on the show, and it's pretty awesome. So it says this. It says, hey guys, love the podcast. Was listening to the episode and was like, where have I heard Militus before? And then it dawned on him. Wildstar. It's so fun.
Oh, God.
He was.
I've been ID'd.
Yeah, you've been ID'd.
It's getting real now.
You are a famous person. So there you go. We had our text messenger. So yes, you're famous,
Nice.
Militus.
Nice. Wow. Well, thanks for listening. And
Isn't
I
that great?
think thanks for recognizing me.
Well, it does depend.
Hopefully all those podcasts are gone.
Right. It does. No, those podcasts are probably still alive. Just depends. There was a slight rough patch in Wildstar there for a time.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough patch.
But that's okay. There was just some like, it was great. It was great.
Well, witness protection will be calling you to relocate.
Yes. There you go. All right. We also got a voicemail this week, so we got lots of great things. So let's go ahead and see what our voicemail is all about.
Really, Serene, stop pumping my leg. Hey, Standing on Fire, this is sandwiches or fake. You think you got rid of me because you stopped playing World of Warcraft, but guess what? I found you. And I know you're playing Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. Hey, I heard your podcast last week. I loved it when Coltrane totally kicked Boom's ass in the voiceover competition, and I thought, hey, why don't I call in and do a voiceover? And I thought, what better voiceover with my wonderful pipes but the voice of the halflings. So here's my version of the halflings. Hang on, I gotta do my voice warm-up. Me, my, mo. Okay, we're ready. Okay. Voiceover for halflings, take one. A refreshing blend of madness and mirth. The halflings of Wild's End have a youthful exuberance that never dims and a resolute spirit that makes them undefeatable. With the effortless self of a wolf and the devious charm of a child, there are few circumstances in which a halfling cannot work for the upper hand, especially in the treaties of their home. Therefore, their reduced stature is an advantage and an unassuming and agile extension of their personalities and gifts, whether in danger, discard, or dance. There you go. Hope you like it, Standing in Fire. See you later, losers.
Hey, you nailed it. That's it. That's going to be the voice of the halflings. I'm voting for it today.
Wow.
Yeah, right? That was applause for that. Yeah. Yep.
That was it.
Sandwiches.
I'm pretty sure we don't need to have a competition. That's just over.
Yeah. So
as in, what minus means is it's over and never call back. Sandwiches are fake with that. Minus is going, we reject the halfling voice you put forth.
You don't like the
Get the
halfling voice?
ID. I'm going to send them a couple texts.
Yeah, go ahead. There you go. Well, I personally think that's probably pretty accurate to what the halflings are going to sound like. So let's just,
yeah, me too.
Let's cut them a little bit of slack. It's going to be, it might have been a little too awesome, but that's okay. We'll kind of go from there. I wanted to kick the show off here by introducing Militus and Pantheon Plus, and I mentioned that you were here, but I wanted to kind of ask you some questions and have you kind of plug in. So you were responsible for sort of working with a group of people, and maybe you can talk more about this in kind of starting up a place for the Pantheon people to sort of congregate, find content, sort of just start to connect with the game, even though it's a ways out. Tell us a little bit about that. What's going on?
Sure. So we're allowed to like be a little controversial and make people mad.
Yeah.
That's good here.
That's all.
Yeah, screw people. We don't like people.
Have you listened to the other two? Yeah. Fire. Goodness gracious. We have no.
I mean, so this is pretty near and dear to my heart. I'll give you the quickest form of this as possible, but we, myself and some of my backend team had tested a project in WoW. It never really got to where we wanted it to be, but it was a lot about trying to bring the community back together and around specifically like play styles and not being forced into playing one way. As a leader of a guild for a long time in WoW, I helped people who were any skill level learn how to play and help them get through the content we got through. And that was pretty much the most enjoyable experience for me. So we wanted to do something that would help more people than just our guild. And so we've kind of always really looked at the toxicity in gaming, which is unfortunate. And said, how do you help people through that? And I think I did a lot of research. I don't want to get into a lot of it, but it's damaging. It's really damaging to people. When I was a kid, starting with ColecoVision, you gamed because that was your thing, and you were a select crowd in gaming back then, and you sat next to your friends. And I don't ever remember giving a friend of mine a death threat for beating me at a game. It's just weird. I don't remember that. Maybe I was just too young, but so what we really wanted to do was this community is it's really cool, and it's what pulled me away from a group that I absolutely adore and I miss like crazy in WoW. I had to hand my guild over, and I had to hand them over right as we were about to set up a full guild meet and greet. And we're still probably going to do that, but it hurts. And I still talk to all of them. But I realized that this was a great opportunity to come into an awesome community. And I'm not going to say I'm not special, guys. I'm not at all. I just reached out to some of the people that I really respected, and it just turns out all those people are amazing people. We fortunate to have Nathan down there.
Mm-hmm.
But Basgrim, Nathan, the Battle Axe guys, just like you guys, they make me laugh so much. And I've had so many talks with Def that have been like probably my favorite things in the world when he starts ranting. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Like, please keep ranting. But what it was here's the end deal of this. There's a lot of likes and there's a lot of hate out there. And I want to try to help content creators who are having fun stay having fun. And I want to try to create a community that everyone is going to define. I almost hate the fact that me and Haya's content is called Pantheon Plus. I'm actually thinking maybe rebranding it so Pantheon Plus can be everybody's thing. And then we have our own content, because it's really not about that. But the problem is when you say things like that, there's a community that's like, oh, they're just lying. Nobody's genuine anymore. Nobody's actually positive. But if you're not willing to stand up for something you believe in, like the community, then why do it? And when I found all these different people, like, but again, Basgrim, Nathan, Chris Kane, we all meshed really naturally. And I'll be honest with you, we're all just really good friends, and we kind of all helped each other build this project. And now that we've helped each other build it and met you guys, and that first night, I stumbled upon you guys from Reddit. I was like, hey, I'm working on the website. Let me go talk to these, like, see what these guys are doing. So it's a love project. If I'm honest with you, it's something to help everybody who's there. We're not trying to take any credit for anything. We don't own any content. And anybody, if you've made one video, you can submit it to us. If you've made 100 and you want me to upload all of them, I'll hate you for about 2 or 3 days while I try to upload or put it all on the website. But everybody's welcome, and we're going to try to really be strict to Pantheon content. So we have content creators that make a lot of content for all the games. And so we'll link their Pantheon stuff, but we also link to their channels. So it's like, hey, if you want to see other stuff they do, go see them. And it's a really welcoming community that helps each other and welcomes people in, because I think, and I'll end this because I rant a lot. Stop me at any time. Talking is not a problem. So my big thing is, let's be real. This community is phenomenal.
Right.
The game's a while off. WoW's hurting. We've all been from there, and we know how toxic WoW is, unfortunately. A lot of that crowd, when this game gets closer, is going to come over, and there's going to be a lot of great people from that crowd. There's going to be absolutely amazing people from that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also going to get a lot of people just coming here to talk trash on all the people that are excited. And what I want to do is I want to have a group that's like, hey, this isn't the game for you.
No.
This is about community matters. And I think the stronger we get as a community, we're going to be ready for that and protect this game, protect the developers. I mean, half of what's wrong with WoW is done by the pressure of the toxic people who play it. Mm-hmm. And then they hate Blizzard for doing and being pressured to do what they wanted. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
no,
cyclical,
100%.
really.
Yeah.
It's a cyclical. Yeah, it's very much a cycle. And I know that when we first showed up here, Minus, right? We've played MMOs for a long time, and we've met lots of different communities along the way. We formed our own communities along the way, built guilds, all those kind of things you talked about. But I was really kind of taken aback, I'll be honest with you, when I first got into the Pantheon community. And we were doing a WoW podcast, and I told these guys, I'm like, listen, I found this game. And I was telling Boom, I remember telling I'm like, man, I'm really worried about dropping this much money on this game, mainly because of my wife. I'm like, I wonder what she's going to say when I tell her I spent X dollars to support this game. But when we entered, it was just, I was taken aback at just how welcoming people like you and Nathan and Asgrim and, for Julie. And
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
everybody has been just so great. It was almost jarring to me because I've been conditioned for so long to that toxicity you spoke of earlier that it took me a little bit to kind of like let my guard down, to be honest with you, because I thought, what's coming? Like, there's a nice comment, but there's something coming behind it.
Yeah.
And it really never happened. You guys are just genuine, sincere, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. It's
And
to be a part of.
I remember talking to you guys, and we were both talking like, hey, what are you looking for someone to be a part of it? And I'm like, just ask me, because I'd love to have you. Can I just ask you? It's tough. Being genuine isn't believed anymore. It's a societal thing. Like, people are so afraid of being let down that they'd rather not be optimistic anymore. And it's sad.
Yeah.
And those people who still want to, they try to trash her. And I put a tweet out, and I actually talked to some people about this, and some people who are getting harassed. The positive people are the ones who get attacked with toxicity. And then the people that are toxic upvote all those people that are saying horrible things. And that's just the cycle of how it works. But, in things like Reddit, for example, or wherever, if you click on someone's name this day and age, you see their post history. And I've always told people, if someone trashes on you, before you respond or even think about wasting your time, click on their name and look at their post history and realize it's not you, it's them.
Yeah.
It's really obvious, and at that point you kind of just sit back and you're like, whatever, let's move forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have to have such, this is sad. To me, this is really sad that you have to have such thick skin these days to really be and try to get involved in a lot of communities, because you have to just assume that you're going to get, crap just flung at your face. And that's unfortunate, but that's what I'm loving about this, community, is I was really, really nervous the first time I posted, like crazy nervous. And I was just like, hi, everybody. My name is Tess. Don't
But
crap
you got
on me.
positive feedback. You got positive feedback.
Yeah, everybody was so sweet and like, hi, nice to meet you. And it was just, it felt like coming home, It felt like old school gaming, when you would even just like board games that you would play with your friends and sit around a table and have a beer and eat some popcorn and, throw Monopoly money at each other, I mean, it was fun. I'm so excited.
You know what's great about that is, okay, so everyone knows who Method is, right? And there's your top 5 guilds, and let's be honest, the 2 or 3 of them are going to hit world first. It's not a competition. Anyone who thinks it is, and everyone who complains that they got a head start, like, you're not in that competition. I'm sorry. Like, reality, these guys do this as a profession. They're going to win. Your guild might be great, and you might get it down in a couple months, but they're going to beat you. And this esports culture of thinking that that's what the game is for drives me crazy, because if we went around the table right now and we talked about what our best moment was in any MMO, none of it is going to be a world first or an achievement. It's going to be like something really stupid that happened that you'll never forget, right? Yeah. And that's usually because you have a bond with your guild, and you have a bond with the people you play with, and you have a bond with your friends. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
It was the first time that we dropped Maiden in Kara. That was the best moment. Everybody around me is dead. Whacking away. People are just screaming numbers. 10%, 8%.
So you're so elite. You say that. For me, it was just my first raid boss ever. It was downing the horseman in Kara. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. People were bitching about not getting the mount, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Not getting the mount. All I wanted was the necklace, and I never dropped for my hunter. Ever.
Well, I mean, did you guys have, so when Kara came out, I had a small guild. I had a guild of we had maybe 12 people in it, and that was a guild that we had we probably never maxed more than like 20 people from the launch of WoW until Kata. It was the same people, like a couple in and outs. But what was cool, like you just said about going into Kara, all the raid content we didn't have enough people for, so we just did what we did. And then all of a sudden a 10-man raid comes out and we're like, oh, we can do this.
We can do this.
That's
Not
so funny.
just any 10-man raid, the best raid
ever made.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Send your hate mail to Tess at
Zolomon was fun too, just because it was.
Oh
really
no,
protect.
it was too. Yeah, I loved it too. I loved Zul'Aman as well.
Hey,
Oh
I
my
tell
gosh.
you, I hear everything everybody's saying, but for me, it was the craziest thing. I download this thing called an MMO. I've never played it before. I grew up in an actual quarter arcade. I've got all this background and very single player kind of experiences. The camaraderie was different, because your friend's right there, right? You're punching him in the arm while you're playing. And the very first time I walked into Ironforge and I saw a bunch of people standing there, I was just changed. I was like, unbelievable. I had no idea this was even possible, that technology has even made this thing. And I still think it's magic. I still think the fact that you can have 100 people in a room together virtually over a bunch of cables and wires, and sometimes even over fiber optic cables across oceans, and I can interact with them like they're just right in the same room with me, is still just fascinating to me. And we kind of have gotten so spoiled and so conditioned to the fact that it's just, we just expect that every game is going to be like that. But it's like practically magic that's going on, right? And so I think we've lost kind of some of the respect for what's actually happening.
Are we
actually there.
I don't know. At this point, are we allowed to say Louis C.K.? Is he banned still, or is he go? I don't know. But he had the joke about being on the plane. Have you guys ever heard?
Mm-mm.
A clean joke.
Oh yeah, right. And it's magic.
No, it actually. So yeah, right. So he's sitting on the plane, and he said it's the first time ever a stewardess walks up to them and says, "Hey, we're testing something we've never done before. We have Wi-Fi on the plane, and we're going to give it to you for free." And him and the guy next to him's like, "Oh, this is awesome!" So they get on and they're watching movies and they're doing stuff, and then it crashes, and the guy next to him just starts flipping out. This is garbage. This is crap. Like, what the hell? And he looks at him and he goes, "You didn't even know this existed 2 minutes ago. Why don't you just stop and realize that you're in the sky?
Yeah.
You're literally in a chair in the sky. You're like
there.
this close to being a Greek god.
Yeah.
Sitting on a throne in the sky. And you're upset that your internet went out, right? But how true is that, right?
Yeah,
How
it's
true is
so
that?
Problems
true.
right there. Yeah.
It's so
Well, and that's
true.
why they can't ever get rid of flying. Like, now that you have flying, you can't get rid of it because
Well, we just need teleporters.
yeah,
Yeah.
Then
something.
we'll all weigh 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, right. Then it's just like we'll just kind of just blob along. Tell us a little bit, Minus, about yourself personally. Like, what did you get your start on? What's your gaming history? Tell us a little about what brought you to the MMO world.
So I big RPG player. Once I graduated big time gaming, I was a ColecoVision player way back in the day, and for some reason the only game I super remember is a game called Smurfs. I have no idea why I remember this game so much, but every time I bring it up with anyone who had ColecoVision, like, oh, that game was awesome. So I had ColecoVision, and then I remember as a kid, I was really young, and I got my NES system. It was the one with Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and my dad bought me Kung Fu.
Oh.
And I was pretty young, and my dad was sleeping on the couch, and I was playing. And it was as a young kid, this is the first time I stayed up all through the night. My dad woke up and I was playing Mario still, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on level 8. I am on level 8." So that was kind of my start. But I got into RPGs really hardcore, and I was actually late to the game. I was a big action guy, played like the Resident Evils, and super into fighters. Tekken, I still love Tekken, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Like you, I was kind of in the arcades a lot.
Yeah.
So fighters were phenomenal. But Final Fantasy VII, which I'm going to be super generic, the game I bought, it was the big, nice box set. It was getting crazy reviews. And that was the first real RPG I played. It's not my favorite anymore, but it was the first real RPG I played, and I just couldn't put it down. And then, my favorite game of all time, because of playing that, I played Final Fantasy Tactics. And that's hands down my favorite game I've ever played. I've beat it probably 11 times.
Oh, that's amazing.
I've beat it in crazy situations, like playing really bad classes with my whole team. But so what ended up happening is I dated a girl when I was 16, and she's like, "Hey, you got to play this EverQuest game." So I knew nothing about it, and she bought it for me on my birthday because I think it came out in like March 23rd, and my birthday was on the 25th. So she bought it, And here's the best part. You couldn't find that game anywhere. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it was really hard to find because they only made limited copies because of the server load. So I got a copy, but it was a returned copy. So I get home and I set it up and I go to punch in my code.
Oh,
And this
Oh,
code's already been
no.
used. And I couldn't find it. I was literally driving store to store to store to store to store trying to find a copy of this game. Eventually I got it within a couple of days. And I got hooked. And a lot like you just said, Boom, so like what people would complain about now, right?
Yeah.
I got on a boat in
He's on a
He's
boat.
on a boat.
yeah. Don't you
Cue
ever
that. Yeah. We did have an episode about that, by the way. So yeah, that's a different game.
so I'm in Butcher Block, right? And I'm running around and I get on this boat. And the boat rides, now my memory is not phenomenal. So the boat ride, I'm gonna tell you from my perspective now, it was at least 5 hours long. So I remember sitting on this boat and I think like my grandfather was a big tech guy. So I'm like, you gotta come here. He's like, what?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
on a boat. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I've been on this boat for like, again, exactly 5 hours.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm like, the world's so big. I have to literally be on this boat for 5 hours to get to the other side. And it was amazing. It
Yeah.
was so amazing. So
Isn't
that got
crazy?
me started. And then I've played, and the best part is I ended up changing to WoW. I don't
Yeah.
regret it. I have no regrets on WoW, but so I played EverQuest for a long time and a buddy of mine got into the WoW beta and he's like, you have to try this game. So what did I say? I've played this game for years, man. I'm not giving up all my I invested in this. And then he made me play it. And I was like, this is really good. And I
Yeah.
switched over to WoW and I played that for 14 years. Now in between playing, like I played almost the entire 14 years, but I would always pick up every MMO. And there were a couple that really stood out, like Secret World really stood out to me.
Yes.
I was a
Yes.
huge fan of that game.
Militus
Huge fan.
likes to do push-ups in the secret world.
Only in Tessa's lap.
It gets
Have
we
you
get a
ever
little
seen-
naughty in Secret
Oh,
World.
no. You remember the dance?
The dance.
Yes.
You
You
remember the sprinkle?
yes.
And your like flamethrower kept like clicking through your
Yes,
body as you're doing it. Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yes, we had some
Oh, I
fun in
almost
Secret
peed my
World. We had
pants.
we did a few episodes of a show actually about Secret World. We had a good time with that game for a while.
So you know what they did wrong with that game, at least for the initial stuff. I haven't played in a while. The first like Boston zombie apocalypse was badass, and then you go to like sea people. It's
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah,
you're running from
yeah.
hordes of zombies, and now there's sea people. If they would have made the zombie part later, I think it would have been a much cooler thing. But anyway, so I played that a lot. I played a lot of the
Yeah.
Korean ones. I met Haya on Blade and Soul. And
Ah.
I have to be very careful what I say about this because if my wife ever stumbles across this, I will probably be divorced.
Join the club, brother.
Oh my god! So Blade and Soul, it's definitely pay to win. If anybody tells you it's not pay to win, they're lying. And I played a summoner, right? So that class was known as the girlfriend class.
Yeah.
Because it was really easy to get into, but you could master it. It could be awesome, but you could also be awesome just because. So I played that class and I spent a lot of money on loot boxes.
You were
a
winning,
lot.
is what you're telling me. You were winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was winning in the game. I
Yes.
was losing in life. I got a bonus check. So this is where it gets bad. I really hope she never hears this. I got a bonus check.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have taken an entire year bonus check and dropped it into one loot box event.
Wow.
And Haya at that point's like, we need to stop playing this game.
Yeah,
And I'm
this
like,
game,
"Yeah."
this game, we got to move into a different game.
Minus is making me feel a lot better about
Yeah,
when I
no
told
doubt.
my wife
You-
I'd pledge
You don't
the
even have any
champion
problems,
level.
Militus. You're fine.
Yeah,
you
I
just keep
know,
going.
right?
You drop some more cash, Militus. You got it made.
Move up to
Gaming-
the VIP. Move up to the VIP package,
Well,
baby.
Non-gaming spouses, I think, are so adorable because my husband just recently, this just literally happened like, I don't know, a month ago, came up to me and he's been playing this like mobile game. And he was like, hey Tess, I would really like to spend some money and buy some of this currency. Can I spend like $20? And I was like, Yes, honey, you go right ahead.
You-
If you had any idea how much money I spent on gaming.
Yeah, it
That's
was,
so excellent.
But she knew I spent a lot because up to that I was like, hey, I'm
Sure,
gonna buy
sure.
like a couple $100
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
But so like when I brought up Pantheon, she's like, how much is it? I told her I want to get into Alpha. She's like, oh, I figured you had probably just done that without telling me. So
Yeah.
I broke her with the Blade
All
and
right.
Soul habits.
All right, so now she just like she's like Pantheon's piece of cake. It's practically free. It's great. Okay.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
you're ready. So you're ready to roll. So what has you the most excited about Pantheon when we talk about we've moved through all this stuff. We talked community. I know that's probably one of the things that has you most excited. Game wise, what has you so excited about Pantheon versus other things that might be coming up or are already out there?
So the big difference between WoW and EverQuest for me was if you saw back when I played EverQuest, if you saw a max level player, you could ask them anything. You could literally be like, hey, I'm trying to do this quest in the Estate of Unrest. Do you know how to get there and how I do this? And they'd be like, oh yeah, here's how you do it. Because the max level characters in that game, it was a symbol of someone who was great at it. It wasn't about being world first. It wasn't about all that stuff. If someone was max level early on in that game, they were really good because you lost experience. You had gear that was incredible, that meant something. Anyone who's ever played EQ, I can say Fungi Tunic, and every single person knows what I'm talking about. I can say Flowing Black Silk Sash, FBSS. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. How many times can you do that for WoW outside of the meme stuff? Like, what's it called? I can't remember it now. Thunder, whatever. Blessing of the what is it
Right,
called?
right.
Blessed blade of the
Thunder
Yeah,
King
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in J boots. Yeah, I mean it's so I'm excited to have leveling
J-boots.
matter, and I'm excited that here's the thing in WoW, most people could just dungeon find or could just be toxic and still get everything
Sure.
they wanted. In this community, it's going to be tougher. I really do
Yeah.
believe that. I think that if you make a toxic reputation for yourself, it's going
Right.
to spread pretty quick because how much people need to work together in this game. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And two, I want to piggyback on what you said, Minus. I think the inverse of that equally excites me. And that is, sure, I'm with you. Like a toxic person on your server, they're shitty in a group or whatever, and you admonish them, right? But hey, the other side of that is this. What about if you're great at your role? What about if you're a great human being, you're a good player? You're also going to gain notoriety in that respect as well.
Mhm.
Back in the early days of WoW, and I missed the EQ train. I was in grad school at that time. But back in vanilla WoW, I'm sure it wasn't to the degree of EQ, but I remember having server identity, particularly in BC, Burning Crusade, where people on my shard would know, like I could get in the general chat and they would know, hey, this dude, this healer, he will do a good job. He won't AFK. He won't abandon your group, and he knows how to play his class. And so I would get people whispering me, I didn't know, hey, want to come heal this? Want to come heal this rook? Want to come to this
Yeah.
raid? Want to come do this? Because I kind of gained an identity on the server. And that excites me equally as much as those that are toxic being kind of suppressed, those that are great being uplifted. And I don't mean just great at gameplay, great community members, people that are infectious with their positive attitude. Those are the kind of people you want to hang around with in games. You want to sit in town and craft with. You want to, shoot the shit with. And so to me, that equally excites me. Is kind of those.
I'm
being
totally
lifted up.
screwed is what you're basically saying because
You are not.
yeah, so here's what's
Well,
going to
you
happen.
and sandwiches have to be nice to people.
Well, here's what's
Well,
going to yeah.
boom. Importantly,
Yeah.
though, if
Yeah.
Archive have a really good ratio, since there's
Yeah.
only going to be like 5 of them, people will need.
Oh, I see. Oh, shots have been fired. No, here's how this goes down. Because I'm horrible. So what'll happen is
He's not.
we'll get into
He's
something.
not.
I'll be in like gray gear and I'll be running around and I'll be like, oh, it's that gray gear guy. He's not even in the right I'll be like, I don't even know. I'll just be equipping whatever I find. It's gonna be crazy,
Why
and they're
is
just
that
gonna know me as
enchanter
that.
meleeing?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be in there smacking and and I'll be exactly. That's exactly
Was
the
it-
kind of thing that can happen.
Was it you, Militus, that did that early WoW made a
Tess.
hunter,
Thanks,
and all you
yeah.
did was Raptor Strike?
I Raptor strike the shit out of so many mobs until they're still unbelievable.
Right.
Hey,
See,
Minus, you're gonna love this. Listen, when I first started playing, one of my I teach at a community college. One of my college students actually approached me and they're like, "Hey, Terry, why are you not playing WoW?" Because I was a big Diablo 2 player and I just missed it. I don't ask how or why. That's embarrassing, but I just missed the launch of WoW entirely. He said, "Why are you not playing this?" I said, "Well, I'll give it a shot." So he said, "Hey, there's my server. Meet me in game. I'll hook you up with some money." So I meet him in Darnassus, and I walk up to him. He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, check this out. Look at this sword." And I was a hunter. I'm like, "I have been killing mobs for a week and a half." I was level like 12, okay? I had been murdering mobs. I'm like, "Look at this sword. I spent a gold and a silver for this sword."
Wow.
I said, "Watch me, bro." And I ran over and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Raptor striking the shit out of everything around.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the are you doing?" I'm like, "I know, dude. Isn't this elite DPS?"
Isn't this so sweet?
He's like, "Hold on. You don't have a bow or a gun." I'm like, "I know. I don't need it. When they get to me, I just
No.
beat
You
the
just
shit
whack
out of
them.
them
Yeah,
with
you
this
just go-
awesome
yeah.
sword."
Yeah, that's the way you'd be. See?
Yep.
That's the kind of
Yep,
stuff I do.
I lost all credibility with gaming.
No, see, so what you're telling me is that the reason in Vanilla WoW and BC WoW that every single piece of gear was hunter loot was because
Yeah.
Because Blizzard felt compassion for my pathetic gameplay. They thought, we got to throw this guy a bone. We got to give him some gear. Yeah,
Well
I
done.
think we all
Oh,
have those.
Lord.
We have weird experiences, but that was mine. But here's the thing. You mentioned it before. I'm not laughing about an achievement or I'm not bragging about downing world first boss, am I? I'm
Mhm.
laughing about a social experience
Mm-hmm.
in a game
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
meant nothing to top tier people. And that's what I hope Pantheon can give us.
I
as
never
well. A lot of
I
this.
never was going to be excited about getting through a dungeon fast.
No.
That's
that
actually-
never
you-
that never
I
gets
can't
us
do
excited.
it. Anxiety. I can't. No.
So I was
Yeah.
thinking about that when Militus was talking, and then I completely lost train of thought. I think I drank more. But so you asked about Pantheon, and that's another huge point you just brought up, Boom. So has anybody ever had a full pug Mythic Plus group in WoW? And at the end of that, and I'm sure it's happened. So I'm not trying to paint the overblown,
Right.
but
There's always good
on
situations.
average, yeah. Have you ever had a full pug in a Mythic group and literally friended all of them? Real ID.
Not
Recently.
since like Wrath.
Wrath of Lich King.
Since they put out the
I did
timed
a
runs.
little I did a little bit maybe in Pandaria, Mist of Pandaria. There was a little bit of that.
So in Legion, me and my guild were pushing. I think we pushed to 20. Okay, so we
Wow.
could do it as a guild, and it was fun. But outside of playing with the guild, I had no interest in doing anything over like a 10. And it's funny because and I'm gonna probably do a video on this and piss off a lot of people, but the downtime debate. Literally, WoW is built to make sure you don't. If you even talk to people in a high level Mythic Plus, they hate you.
You're wasting time.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you just slowed them down.
Why did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
talk to me, you inefficient piece of trash?
Go get
I'm
your
like,
phone. Go
hey
get your
guys,
phone
how
out
are
and
you?
do some
Shut up. We
gaming."
need to move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
I know.
Right.
Ugh. I can't do it. I can't, like, right now I'm tanking. That's I've been tanking for 2 expansions now, 2 and a
So
half.
if you stop,
Mhm.
the healer doesn't even need mana, and they'll yell at you. Why'd you
Yeah.
stop? Well, you don't have mana.
Yeah. And I can't
Mhm.
do it. I literally cannot pug and jump in. The only way I can do any of my like dungeon quests and stuff is to be with friends. I will not pug because everybody wants to just race through it. And I'm like, I don't.
It's terrifying.
Tess gets scared.
We talked
It's
about this
terrifying.
on the WoW show. When we were doing this as a WoW show, we talked about this. I was commenting that in this latest expansion, not to discredit anything, but all of a sudden I stopped playing dungeons. I wasn't playing any dungeons, and for me, that's one of my favorite things to do. I was always so excited about coming home after a hard day of work and sitting down at some point and just running a dungeon. And back in Wrath of the Lich King, when I was running dungeons regularly, people used to be like, "Hey, great heals. hey, nice tank. They used to comment in the chat. Like, they'd be, thanks for the heals, great heals. Thanks for tanking, great tanking. And, they would comment and be nice to each other. And that's completely gone. And then with the time thing and everything, I just was like, all of a sudden, I was like, wow, I didn't even realize it. But I was like, I've gone almost a full year and I've not run any dungeons because I have no reason to. And it was kind of weird. And that was kind of the turning point for me where I said, time to look into a different situation and sort of start to look forward to a little more of that traditional gameplay that we fell in love with, so long ago, I think. And
the way I see downtime is it helps save us from ourselves,
Well,
because a lot of us are competitive. And I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about, Militus.
We are. As MMO gamers, I'm convinced of this. We are community driven, but there's a part of us that's competitive. We want to compete and do well. And I think downtime is a perfect save yourself from yourself mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
It just builds in to the game a mechanic to keep you from racing. So I love that. Minus, I think that
Tess was like, I'm done with this downtime talk. She jumps out.
I know she jumps out.
Well, she does that
My
often.
stupid Discord keeps
keeps
rebooting. I don't know what's
kicking
going on with it.
Well,
the last thing I'll say about it is think about it from a grander standpoint. One of the biggest complaints about WoW was that there wasn't enough interaction with the world. So you build these beautiful dungeons. And listen, again, I'm not a hater of WoW. The dungeons were beautiful, and to run them as much as you did, they had to look good, right? The art was good. Yeah. But think about this. You design this dungeon, okay? You put these specific enemy types padding around and they have different abilities. Mm-hmm. And essentially you took it and you reduced it to pull everything all at once and skip half of it. Mm-hmm. So you made all this content and then you made your game around skipping it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all about getting it done quickly, isn't it, everybody? We gotta go. It's a go world. Well, we're gonna get into something even crazier here. And since I don't have the perfect bumper for it,
my lord!
We're gonna go ahead and call this the straight poop segment.
Me shit, Tess.
No, this is the straight poop. We're giving everybody the straight poop.
I'm so embarrassed.
I'm hurt, Boo.
No, this is the straight poop.
Here we go.
We're giving you the straight poop here on the podcast. This is what we call these segments because we're being straight with everybody. We're being straight with everybody. We wanted to talk a little bit about and this is so cool. Militus did all this research. He's sitting over there. He's the smug doctor, and we've got this psychology lesson that we're going to get to this afternoon or this evening.
But it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. It's the psychology of class identity in Pantheon in our community. And I think this is really cool because you got some research on this that you're going to kind of share with us. And I'll have to admit, when I read through a bunch of the stuff that you gave me, I started to feel a little bit of shame. I felt a little bad. Yeah, and you guys are going to start
a lot of shame.
I started to just and so Militus, take us away. Get us kicked off on this.
All right. So let me preface what we're about to talk about with why we're talking about it. I think that's always important, right? I don't want to waste anybody's time. Kind of getting back to when I first arrived in the Pantheon community, one of the coolest things I found when I joined the forums and pledged and all this is immediately I was able to identify myself, not just with my gamer tag, but with what class I was going to play. So like in the Pantheon forums, it says Militus the Cleric, right? And Reddit and things like that, it says that as well. And I started looking around and I found people talking and very passionate about their identity as a class or race in your case with the archive. Mm-hmm. And I found that really refreshing. As a psychologist, I find that really refreshing. And so I thought I'm going to grab a couple of articles and look at this. But then I stumbled upon the recent DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual we use as psychologists to make diagnoses of disorders. And there's actually a new disorder being proposed. It's not there yet, but it's being discussed. And I wanted to kind of contrast those things with like class identity And then are we going astray? So have you guys ever heard of something called internet gaming disorder?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet I have it.
Spend a bonus paycheck on bleeding soul.
Yes. Yes.
I
As
want to
we
read.
just-
I want to
yeah.
read to you and to the chat some of the criteria that's being proposed.
Hold on, real
All
quick.
right,
My
all right,
name
go
is
ahead.
Minus, and I have a gaming disorder.
Yeah. You didn't even realize.
Is this turning
this
into
is-
AA?
Yeah, this was an intervention. We got you on here, Minus. Your wife put us up to it. She said, "Hey, can you guys?" So sorry, Minus.
She saw the credit card bill for Blade and Soul. She sent me an email
Yeah.
and she's like,
And so now
"Notice
here you are.
that you have him there. Let's work through an intervention."
Can you blur my face?
So the number one criteria is preoccupation or obsession with internet games. That's all of us. Withdrawal symptoms when not playing said games. That's
Check.
probably all of us. A buildup of tolerance, more time needed to be spent playing games. That's probably
Check.
all of us. Person has tried to stop or curb playing internet games, but has failed to do so.
Why would you even try?
The person has had loss of interest in other life activities such as hobbies. This is kind of my hobby, so that's
Check. Keep going.
It's working.
well, I did so in real life, but then I picked it up as a crafting profession in the game. So I feel
Yeah,
like,
right there you go. Right? Yeah.
a person has continued overuse of internet games, even with the knowledge of how much they impact their life.
Mhm.
Check.
The person has lied to others about his or her internet gaming usage.
Oh.
The person uses internet games to relieve, and I think this is where it gets more serious.
Yeah.
The person uses internet games to relieve anxiety or guilt in a way to escape. Hold on to that one.
Okay, we're gonna hold on to it. We
that
got
one
put
is
it in
going
the
to be
back
something.
pocket.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, put that one.
Escapism.
Escapism. Yeah. The person has lost or put at risk an opportunity or relationship because of internet games. Minus. So here's the thing. I never played EQ, but I have one of my best friends who did, and he divorced as a result
Oh,
of EQ.
really?
Because
It's pretty common for EQ. Marriages and divorce, both.
yeah, he put his
Really?
wife and kids below EverQuest.
Wow.
Yeah, he did definitely spend time there. So, anyways, that's the
Wow.
criteria being proposed, and I stumbled across this article, and this is why I was thinking about Pantheon. On one hand, you got a lot of people on the forums, on Reddit, people we know on Pantheon Plus, Nathan, Basgram, all these people. They're really positive people, and they project this identity, this what I would call a healthy identity of who they are as a person and who they are in game. And those things often coalesce. You know, they often coalesce in a healthy way.
Mhm.
So I pulled up this study that was looking at something called self-concept clarity. You guys, so if I say self-concept to people in chat and to you,
Right.
how would you define that? How do you define self-concept? What do you guys think? Not necessarily as a
Kind of
game, just
so-
as human
self-
being.
Like self-actualization, like what it is that when I think of Tess, that comes to mind. Like if I were to describe myself, yeah, that's what I think.
But
in
you,
your
Boom,
mind.
over to you, Minus. What do you guys think?
How I
Self-concept.
see myself.
Okay.
That's what I would see. it
Yeah,
as.
Yeah, I mean it's the way you interact with the society around you, and then sort of relate it to how you react in a game when you're a role. Does that role, is it the same?
Yeah. Do you project the same kind of values?
Right.
So self-concept is like thinking. Think of it that way. It's a
Mhm,
cognitive
mhm.
aspect, thinking, and that's not to be confused with something like self-esteem. That's more evaluation of yourself, judgment.
Mhm, mhm.
And then there's self-efficacy. That's kind of how you project in the future your confidence. So let's go back to running dungeons for a second. If you run a Mythic Plus, right, and someone shits all over you and tells you that you're a horrible human being and you should go kill yourself, your efficacy going forward to run Mythic Plus goes like this.
Wonk. Yeah.
It goes away. Anyways, so I'm seeing all these people on Pantheon forums, and they are projecting what I would call a great deal of self-concept clarity. They know who they are. They know their values. Those are internally consistent. And they're like, hey, these values, they represent me as this class. Like, there's a reason I play healers.
Mm-hmm.
It aligns with my personality and my core values and the kind of person I am. I'm not like Tess. Tess is a natural born tank. I don't care what she says. She's the first one to take charge, lead the group through the dungeon. She'll take the hit if something goes wrong. That's her personality. You tend to see that kind of in game as well. Boom.
That was the nicest thing anyone has ever said about me in my whole life.
Yeah, you're very. That's
Back up the feed. Erase that. Do you have a timer delay?
I got it on. I got it.
Boom is a
do clip.
jovial, comical, make everybody laugh. I'm here to be a supportive. I'll play heals. I play DPS, but I'm here just to keep the group cohesive. And Minus, I'm sure in the future when we run together, I'll know a lot more about you. But you told me you played tank and paladin in the past, and you want to play bard, an upcoming role. So it's clearly you like to play those support leadership roles and groups. Well, this study I found, and it's linked in the show notes, was looking at self-concept clarity and those people like us that play MMOs, and also looking at this proposed criteria of internet gaming disorder. And here's what they found. This is what I want to throw out to you guys. Lower levels of self-concept clarity predicted a higher number of internet gaming disorder symptoms, suggesting that players with less clear self-concept engage in playing games to achieve a temporary sense of certainty, stability, identity, and control that is often lacking in other areas of their lives. And as a consequence, this may lead to them having excessive, problematic video game playing. Now, okay. So just hold. Let me fuel some of the flames that are coming at me for a second. This is a correlational study. It was conducted with a survey online in Croatia, where they had lots of people just going onto an online site. This is not an experimental study. You cannot draw causality from this study. It's not saying because you play MMOs you're going to be a horrible person or anything like that. It's just showing there's some correlations. And I will say this too, while the study painted the correlation as, hey, as your self-concept clarity goes down, your probability of developing internet gaming disorder goes up. Correlation also works the other way around. So stay with me. And this is what reminded me of the Pantheon community. As you have greater clarity about who you are and the values that you have as a gamer and what you bring to a community go up, the probability of you developing internet gaming disorder goes down. And I don't think that message should be lost in the study, but it's something I wanted to throw at you guys in terms of like how you pick your class, the kind of values you have as a gamer. Are those, consistent? Do you feel as though they're consistent? Are you looking around at all this great community we've been talking about? Mine is brought up tonight. Are you seeing that in the Pantheon community? That's kind of the discussion I want us to have as a result of this study. What do you guys think?
So I guess I'm glad that you added that last little caveat, because I think maybe something we could take away from the study is if you're in a non-toxic gaming environment that can help your what is it called?
Self-concept clarity.
Yeah, that word. It not tank as much, maybe. Is that what you're talking about? Is that kind of the point you were trying to get to? Or am I just pulling stuff out of my butt?
No. So, okay, you said to me earlier, it's the way you think about yourself, right, Tess? Okay. And it is. So clarity is that you have clarity of that in gaming as well as real life. So in real life, if you say to me, Militus, I feel as though I'm an honest person. I'm a person that likes to take charge. I'm a person that loves leadership and loves leading a group. And those values in game are consistent. Then you would have high degrees of self-concept clarity in the way you play MMOs.
Right.
Okay.
As opposed to you're totally different And what I mean by that is I want to.
Oh.
So Boone brought this up to me. He's like, Melissa, I'm a little worried about this because a part of the study, and you even said this, Boone,
Yeah,
you said
right.
to me, you said, it was found in the study that those with low psychological well-being are more likely to create avatars similar to their ideal self. And what I want to point out there and what you said you were concerned about is that word ideal. Here's the
Ideal.
thing.
Right.
Listen, none of us live up to our ideal selves. We have it to strive for, but for example, if there's a greater disconnect in the way you play the game versus the way you are, what the study is saying is you're more likely to develop this internet gaming disorder because what you're doing is you're escaping to the game to mediate that gap between who you are as a person in the real world and the way you think about yourself, and then how you play Pantheon, the class you play and the role you take on. So imagine in the real world, you're a nice person, you know, you're altruistic, you're kind, and then you go in the game and you're Spoon from sorry, minus. But you're this a bastard player that just wants to create havoc and chaos, and that disconnect is large. And what the study showed was if that's the case for you, you're much more likely to develop this proposed disorder.
I could see that more in video games, but not in gaming in general. And the reason I say that is like in D&D, for example, hardcore nerd, queen of the nerds, hardcore D&D player. And sometimes it's really fun for me to create a character that is completely unlike me in D&D, just to like see what that's like, you know, to screw around and be like an evil murder hobo person, you know. But I think you're right in video games.
Evil murder hobo person.
Yeah. That's what they call it when you were just running around killing things in D&D. They call it murder hobo.
I just had
Did
to
you
wonder.
spend a lot of time on
Oh
the
my
mailbox dancing?
I
Yes.
did. How did you know?
I mean, that's the title of this episode is going to be Evil Murder Hobo. What did you say? I don't even remember. Person. Evil murder hobo person. Okay, there you go. All right. That's awesome. That's
Okay,
awesome.
I'm going to stop talking now. But there you go.
What do you think, Minus? You haven't chimed in.
think
Do you think there's a big disconnect in the way for you personally, like your personality, your values? Are they that much distant? Are they very far apart from the kind of avatars and characters you create?
So without getting too deep into personal, so for me, I've been in people leadership for a very long time. And I'm pretty blunt with my leadership style, and I don't accept excuses, and like I push people to their maximum potential. And fortunately for that, I've been able to, help people. And I'm not, it's going to sound so self-serving, but I've been able to help people get better in life, right? Whether it's a small step or they call me later. And that's where some of my best friendships are. And I realized though, that works in a job, and I hate to say with positional power or something like that. It's because I don't believe in that. But let's be honest that outside of that, I can say that I don't believe in positional power and you want to lead with influence, but there's still people that maybe aren't enjoying their job, or people that just hate bosses because they've had bad experiences. So they always look at the positional power. So it's interesting. And I've been thinking about this the whole time you said it, is every time I start a guild, because I do run a lot of guilds, so that kind of goes over into the being a leader part.
Right.
I always find somebody that is my opposite to be my co-leader, because I know my limitations and I know I'm going to go overboard. And Haya, if he was here, you would see a rant like crazy here. He's like a really counter opposite of me. And I would flip out about something and somebody's attention to detail, and he'd be the yin and the yang to kind of balance me. And I know that any game I play, if I take a leadership position, I need that voice of reason. And it's like, I analyze that from my life perspective. And when I game, I want to not be the same. I want to be regulated a little bit more. So I don't know what that says about me, but I know that I don't want to hurt the people that I'm in charge of leading or trying to create a good environment for. So I always have that counterbalance, and I never want to be called the sole leader, even if it's super obvious. Like if I'm spending all the time doing everything, I still want someone else to be equal to me, to have an equal voice.
But that doesn't sound like escapism to me at all. It doesn't sound like you are running away entirely from the
No,
person.
that's situational leadership. That's
Yeah.
situational leadership 101. Yeah.
And I think the study was saying more like if you're escaping, right? If it's escapism that you're seeking in an MMO because your life is so far away from the ideal self that you have in your mind, and you're mediating that by being a cleric. Or
Well, and that's what's interesting.
Is it possible to do that as a halfling bard?
So here's what's interesting. You brought up identifying with the class, right? So yes, I typically tank. So what in the last 2-3 years of playing the guild, I would tank. I would lead us in. We used to sit and do YouTube watch parties for all the raids, and we'd learn it together so everybody could kind of understand the fight before we'd go in. And I would always tank. But what would happen is once we got the content pretty good, I would teach some of our lower DPS people how to tank. Because there's a big difference between DPSing and tanking. If you're a great person and you just really can't tank, you can't DPS very well, you can't hit your numbers, it's just a rotational thing. I don't want to lose a great person. And typically, if you have a good person teaching you how to tank, they can do that. So it's weird because you said, what do you identify as? And it's really hard for me because I have always identified to, I will play the role that's needed for the group. And I'm the person who has 4 or 5 different things leveled up. So it's like, hey, he's going to tank tonight. Cool. I'll jump on a DPS or I'll jump on a heal. We're down a healer. I'll jump on healer. So it's weird because in this game, I want to be support. And I think that kind of ties into that a little bit of being the whatever is needed type of thing.
Yeah. Filling role. Yeah.
To me, you sound very internally consistent with what Tess just said in situational leadership. It sounds to me like I've never played with you, but
that's why I want to play a bard. Like bard is all about answering a problem in the moment, like answering a problem. That's support class sounds like so much fun.
You don't need to be the superstar. You make everybody else the superstar.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's super cool. But we had a question from chat. So we had a question from Donler. Question: if it's healthier to play a class race persona that matches your personality to avoid some sort of cognitive dissonance, then how do we find out what's best for us?
Well, a couple ways you can go about doing that, right? I think the first way to assess that is maybe take some assessments.
Can I just interject one? Because I think your assessment is right. Can I just say, start with Archai?
Okay. The Archai assessment of personality.
So start with Archai.
The big Archai.
Yeah. So once you start with Archai, okay, now think of Archai as you're going. Now go ahead, Militus. Tell them what they would do.
Yeah, once you arrive at the notion that Archai is the best race,
yes.
To me, I think the best place to start, honestly, is take something like the Big 5 personality inventory. It's got 5 dimensions, kind of shows you your personality dimensions, and then think about how that matches the role you would like to play in game. And then, so you're starting real big, right? You're like, what are my dimensions of my core personality traits? Makes me up as a person that I can have some value, some intrinsic consistency and value about. And then from there, you can look to the game and say, how would I have fun in the game? I like for those to align and me not have this big functional distance of the person I am and the person I want to be in game. And then look to classes or races in Boom's case that align with those results. And I think you'll have a shorter functional distance, right, between who you are and then who you portray yourself to be in game, and you're less likely to develop internet gaming disorder or problematic gaming, as they mentioned.
Now, let me ask you a question though, real quick, to kind of counteract. We're talking about developing this disorder. So are you kind of talking specifically about, so you mentioned your friend who played EQ and then everything kind of broke loose, right? Is that kind of, being a healthy, having this healthy persona online and having all this stuff, do you think it helps with that? Do you think that, it slows down your constant need to be in game? Things like that? Do you think that those two things coalesce?
I do, because I think you have to close that functional distance somehow. Okay, so imagine, Boom. In life, I tell you guys, you get in the sense, if you know me, I'm a pretty supportive, laid-back guy. I'm not a big conflict
Rainbow
guy.
deer sprinkles.
There we go, rainbow deer, rainbow shooting out of my ass. I'm that kind of guy, right? So let's say I wanted to be this absolute horrid, jerk, griefer in game. You know how hard I got to work in game at being that? You know how long it's going to take me to do that? And all that time I'm spending in game doing that, trying to achieve this ideal self, is time I'm missing with real life. Right. If it's more consistent with,
but that's your
who I
ideal
am.
self. That's your mental ideal self, right? That's like, you're like, I'm not that person, but subconsciously or deeply, I want to be that person, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's important to point out, though, something that I think that at least I missed at the very beginning of this conversation. And it's less about the role you want to play and the character you want to portray, and more about how you behave to other players. Because, like someone just said, well, what if I want to play an assassin? What does that say about me as a person? I think it's less about what kind of experience you want to enjoy, and how, like what Militus just said, if you are a wonderful person in real life and then you get into the game and you're just a jerk to people and screaming at them, and kind of like what Minus was saying about, I don't know if it was in the show or in the pre-show, about checking people's Reddit history and seeing that they're just a jerk to everybody. It's not just you. Maybe I think that that's kind of maybe more of the, are you getting your kicks off by like demeaning people?
Yeah, you're just talking about WoW rogues.
Hold on.
Yeah, all WoW rogues.
But boom, let's say you took a personality inventory and you were labeled as a highly aggressive person, highly competitive person,
right?
Risk taker. Then that class, that play style is it's the functional distance between your core personality and that play style is not that far apart. And so what this study said was that if that distance is not that far,
so
then you're less likely to.
You just proved that most rogues are horrible people. That's what you just said.
Wow.
No, I didn't say that.
That's what you just said. That's what you just said. I got fragile in the I know Fragile's in the chat saying I mean to robe. I mean to robe.
It was probably a subtlety rogue too.
Yes, there you go. It's just, it's a stab you in the back sort of a situation, right? All right. Never trust a rogue, guys. That's the big message that we're getting from here.
No,
it's never.
Sylvanas is a goddamn demon.
Well, guys, if you ever want to, if you want to get in on this conversation, you're driving your car, you're on your way to Bed Bath & Beyond for your weekly, trip to feel how soft the towels are, whatever you got going on in your day, pull over, call 702-625-1337 and give us a message. We'll bring it back up. If you got anything to ask or talk about, feel free to kind of do that. We'll get you involved in that. Until then,
and boom, I'll say this.
I'll let you say this in just a minute.
Don't know your gaming news? Well, neither do we, but who the cares?
All right, it's time for the gaming news, but Militus has a point he wants to make, and here's the way the show runs. It is live, by the way. We don't stop for nothing, okay? This show gets recorded. It's one of the few shows you'll ever find that we start, we stop, and if there's mistakes along the way, it's just in the mix, all right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Militus. Tell us, finish your thought.
I just wanted to say that everything we just talked about, don't take my word for it. Be skeptical. Yeah. I have the full study linked in the show notes. If you're curious about how you might score on the Internet Gaming Disorder Scale, I have a link to the scale. If you want to go take it, it's 27 items. You can do that yourself. And if you want to see the actual criteria and the diagnostic manual, I have that linked as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
Throw it in chat. We got quite a few people in chat.
I don't understand how to score it though.
I can definitely do that. Well, the scoring, I myself am a little, not to bog us down too much. They ran factorial analysis on the data that was generated, like to look for predictor values and variables. It was more like a descriptive analysis. So
I have another question.
Bog us down too much, but I'm gonna post it in chat. Yeah.
Militus, are you able to design one of these personal assessments now that determines which class people should play? Can we take some instrument.
Well, hold on.
And then just
Hold on.
apply it to
You're
the
asking-
different things.
Well, I mean, Bartles did that.
What
not
about
too
James?
long
What
ago,
did he
right?
do?
Where he
Where
That
was
was an
James?
old guy joke.
that is out there, but I'll
All
say
the-
this:
All the under
research-
40 crowd is like, Bartles and James, what are they talking about?
the study I reference is building on Bartles for playstyles. So it's kind of expanding that.
All right.
But
all right.
anyways, I don't want to bog you down,
Okay.
but all that will be in the show notes, and I'll link it in chat too, real quick.
All right, that's fantastic.
On to the news, boom.
Onto the news, which it looks like we've got some information here. You'd posted here, Militus. Meet Ben Kilson Walters. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. What's up with
And
this?
I know Minus probably has had several interactions with Kilson. He's a community manager. If
very
you
good.
haven't,
Actually, have not.
Very good.
You know what? I have. He's the guy that runs the Twitter, so I've talked to him a little bit from the Twitter.
He's
You will
from
now
down
because he's going to
under,
tell you to stop
he's
hanging out with
Yeah,
us.
he called me mate. So
Yeah, he did me as well. He did me as well.
Oh, that's
He's
great.
really cool. But boom, I wanted to see if you could play the links I've linked here. Start at a particular time in a YouTube video.
Oh, good
Could
Lord.
you possibly play that first link, or do you want me to play
Well,
the first link?
Do you want the audio or do you want the video?
I want the audio only.
I might be able to, but you're going to have to give me some time. You guys are going to have to talk about what sorts of underwear are you hoping the Pantheon characters have? Are we going for
underwear?
a more Mormon
Underwear.
theme? You know, when the clothes are off, or are we going
Well,
for more of a
Honestly, I
think
didn't
I'm
think
picking
the
a half
archive
one?
would wear it.
yeah? What are we kind of thinking here? I want your guys' opinions on that. While you do that, I will see what I can do here. Talk amongst
well,
yourselves.
Pretty
First
sure
of
gnomes
all-
don't wear underwear.
No,
don't.
definitely not.
Guaranteed.
Mm-mm.
And obviously the archive wouldn't wear underwear.
The archive are
I
kind
mean,
of
they'd have
free-balling.
all the glow going on
Yeah.
around their junk.
There's a lot of free balling going on. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh
It's
my
all
god.
Well,
Do you know how in every game you can take your character's clothes off, and every one of us, no
Yeah.
matter what kind of player we are, we've done it
for
It's-
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And you not only
what's
do it,
gonna
but you
happen
do the
when
little
take all
circle.
them
Now, this
clothes?
ties into our previous conversation about our psychological well-being, but I have circled my character just to kind of check them out. I've kind of.
I don't want to
just
get
wanna
off the
see what's
rails here, but
happening.
did anybody? It was horrible. But when Age of Conan came out, did anybody?
I never played that game.
I was so deep in WoW, I didn't try it.
It was horrible, and I played it for 3 days and probably returned it. It was
Offensive community.
rated M, and it was when you took your clothes off, you were completely naked. So
Wow.
I'm just going to openly admit, I made a female character. I'm like, there's no way. So here's the best part about me doing this and I admitting I'm a creep. I made a female character. I'm like, there's no way they actually do this. Took all my clothes. I'm like, oh my God. But here's the best part. It starts you in the starting area. 7,000 naked females running around.
Oh man. Wow. I could see that.
Oh, I can just
Gentlemen.
totally see that. Yeah, that's
All right,
Although I
so-
would say that I would do the other way around and just
Would you
see
You'd
if
be-
there's okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, there
I
was.
have
Was there
Chris-
really?
There
Chris Perkins and Brad McQuaid, no matter how many emails you get from Boom asking for the
Don't do
archive
that,
junk
please.
to be visible and illuminated, please just delete them, throw them in the trash, ignore everything he sends to you.
Okay, here's the thing about it. I just want them to do this one thing. So the cars when they put the LED lights underneath it and it lights up the street? I want, instead of just the pure shadow over the archive, I just want a little bit lights on the ground, just something to kind of light up. So
Under your kilt, you want some neon under the kilt.
You know that the neon
Like
is
Pulp
lighting up
Fiction.
there. Yeah, exactly. But it's lightening down there, but you don't actually
Wow.
get to see where the lights are coming from, right? It's keep that. We got to keep some things sacred as we do this. So okay.
As
and-
Fragila likes to say, is that a glow in your pants or are you just happy to see?
That's tremendous. That's
Well, there's
tremendous.
your first macro.
All right.
Right?
So in Militus's window, I've got the first video. So this is the interview. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Are you ready? Now, what
Yes,
part of
play
this
a
do you
bit.
want me to play? Because it's like long.
I have it linked by time, so just play it and then
okay.
play it and I'll tell you when
Okay.
to stop.
Okay. Thank you. Very
57
good.
seconds in.
Okay.
Community in Pantheon. I can, man. I honestly think that communities make or break a game. Like if you've got like you can have the best MMO in the world, and if you don't have a strong, supportive community to back that, then it's not going to last. Like the game isn't going to succeed beyond any expectations you're going to have. If you've got toxicity or you know, negativity going on in within the community, then I think it makes it very hard for a company to overcome that and to push forward. So I think supporting the community is almost as important as supporting your own game, which is something that I strongly believe in. So that's the motto I kind of carry forward with Visionary Realms anyway, and I know the team's fully behind that.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with an
stop
MMO
there,
game.
Boo.
Great.
All right.
And that's it's so perfect. We've been talking about these very issues all night tonight,
Right.
and you hear Kilson say that, and you get a couple more clips, but you get that vibe not just from him. I get it from Chris Perkins, and I get it from Brad McQuaid, and all the people that lead Visionary Realms. I hear the same thing.
Oops, sorry. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead. Keep finishing.
But I mean, that just that when you back a game, there's a risk, right? We all understand that. You back a game, there's a risk involved with that investment. But I hear those kind of messages coming from Visionary Realms, I feel a lot less risk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about you guys?
Right? No, those are great
Well,
points.
I mean, Timothy.
And that video is 2 years old. Just it's older, but I think that philosophy is still present today. You were saying, Minus?
Yeah. So, okay, real quick, and I don't mean to put you guys on the spot, but think of your favorite game that's not an MMO. Can you name it? So I said Final Fantasy Tactics. It doesn't have to be your favorite. We won't hold you to it. But can you think of one that's not an MMO that you like?
Dragon Age Origins.
Okay. Militus?
For me, I would probably say something like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Okay. Boom.
Nobody has more gamer ADD than Boom. I have.
He likes Forza.
I
Oh,
do.
that's an MMO.
I like every game. I'm gonna say Forza, but just last week I think I played 18 different games and I had a blast. Yeah. So.
Okay. So I bring this up for a reason. This comment will probably get me some hate. So here it is. All of those games everybody just mentioned, how many fans helped develop?
Not very few.
Yeah, not many.
So, and I don't want to come off as I don't want to come off wrong here, but like Legend of Zelda, Mario Brothers, Resident Evil, Mega Man, I can keep naming iconic classic games. Okay, and they are all crazy incarnations from an insane developer's mind, and they made it exactly what they wanted it to be. And it was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the modern day and age, developers are feeling a lot of pressure from fans and a lot of trolls because the trolls speak louder to make the game like they're pushing them to make it, and it ruins the game. And it's
or from
see WildStar.
Yeah,
right.
Or they're getting a lot of pressure from like stockholders and
Yeah, I'm one of those stockholders, by the way. I lost 12% today. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So think about that, right? So I'm just as big as fan as everybody else, right? So I want to have a game that has things I love in it, but I've never been a guy or a gamer who wanted to tell someone what experience they had to make for me. I'm gonna go experience it, and it's like gamers. You're perfect, Boom. There's a million games out there.
Yeah.
So why do these people latch onto a game and fight to make it everything they want when it's nothing like they want, instead of just going and playing another
different game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just playing something else.
Yeah. Just go play something else. There's a million games. It's better than it's ever. And to me, I know a lot of people are going to hate on me for this. Reddit will eat me alive for this, and that's fine. I don't care. But it's the simple fact of this game will be great if VR makes the game that's in their head.
If they enjoy it. If they make the game they want to play. Yeah.
And for the people that want to play it.
Yes.
They don't need 5 million people to have a successful game as an independent company. If they have 100,000, they're going to be in really good shape. Right, man? I'm just making up a number. Maybe it needs to be more than that, but you can't try to repeat.
Or less than that. You never know.
Yeah, it could be. So it's interesting to me, and I don't mean, I'm sorry I threw this off a little bit, but what he's saying is it's about the community. It's about the game they want to make. Like if the community is behind the developer and believes in them, it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
90,000 Arkai running around, hanging out on the beach,
With their-
making it happen.
They're glowing kilts.
Yeah, there's gonna be. That's what's gonna sell them. There's gonna be this glowing on the ground. It's gonna be, it's gonna be fantastic. You just watch. You just watch. All these ideas. There's gonna be an Arkai on the beach hanging out, and it's gonna be epic. Do you want me to play this next one? Militus?
Yeah. Can you play a little bit of the next
Okay. All right. Next one's coming up, everybody. Here it comes.
With social interaction, helping to build a strong community as well. I think, having to rely on other people. Like a lot of the games these days, you just run around soloing. You can solo from like level 1 when you're in rags to max level with epics, and I don't really agree with that type of progression in massive multiplayer online games. So I think it's all about teamwork. Like in the good old days, we used to work hard. We used to, if you spend 10, 15 minutes trying to find a group, when you did find one, it was fantastic. I said that the new friends you would make, people you would have to rely on within your groups, and I think it plays a big part in growing the community and building that kind of trust and respect within the community. So I think it's important. And so that kind of plays into the class interdependence. Interdependence is not allowing everyone to do everything. It makes your class special. Like you've got a certain role to perform. You're going to be needed and required in groups for that specific role. And it doesn't matter how good or bad you are at that role, you're going to fit in. You're going to be needed. You're going to be required. And it's up to you to how you play your class and how you interact and socialize with others.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you raise an interesting.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
I think his message of being wanted, being needed in the group is so refreshing, right? To hear after so many years of playing solo. And this is really, I lay this honestly on the feet of Blizzard.
That's
almost entirely. I just do. I think Vanilla WoW took a step from EverQuest and said, hey, there's some things we'd like to make better. And I think in some ways they did. Some ways they made it horribly worse. And then moving forward to where people just think about this, right? In World of Warcraft, for example, you can level all the way from your first spell to the being raid ready without being in a group with a single person.
I saw somebody do it just by killing boars.
Or picking flowers. There's that Pandaren who never picked the faction that picked flowers the whole time.
All the way through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's important. And play the very last one, and let's talk about Boom. That last one I think is the best one. Play the last
Let me see.
Can you turn the volume up on the video, Boomy?
Do the best I can. Everything's cranked.
It's a strange feeling because the vibe, like on the team, the passion is incredible. Like the dedication and the passion is incredible. The guys and girls, like the amount of time and effort, the help that we provide each other, like the communication, the teamwork. It's all because we want this not only to succeed as a company and as a business as our first game, and not only do we want to make a game that our fans and our community want, but we want this game too. We're gamers. Like half of the team is chomping at the bit to get in and play. They're always sending messages to each other saying, log on, I want to test this, or making some excuse up to get into the game to go and break something or have some fun. And it's I can't even describe the feeling. It's really, really cool to know that you've got such a passionate and dedicated team behind this game, making a game that they want to play as well. So I think you get that extra level of love put into their work, and I think it really shows with a lot of the things that we're showing at the moment.
So that point reminds me of game studios before they were taken over by larger corporations. And as to kind of what Minus mentioned earlier about them making the game and with their vision, right, the way they want it to be, not necessarily having to always look to a boardroom meeting with shareholders demanding you certain return on
Right.
stocks and things like that. So, you could just hear it in them, and it reminded me honestly of Blizzard North. It reminded me of earlier studios in the 90s, Sierra. Reminded me of like these old studios that pumped out great games.
Sierra was so incredible. That's like one of my fondest early memories playing the point and clicks.
Oh yeah. And that King's Quest.
Yeah, Leisure Suit
sounds-
Larry,
Yes.
King's Quest, Police Quest,
Police Quest, Star Quest,
Space
all-
Quest, Roger
Space,
Lopez.
Space. Yeah, Space
Oh
Quest.
man, absolutely!
Ugh.
You guys are speaking my language.
still hear
love
that-
all
that-
of them.
That jingle, the Sierra, that when the Sierra logo would come up, whenever I hear that, I just go, I need some hot chocolate right now. You know, that's oh my gosh, so much fun.
Well, everybody, we're gonna move the show along a little bit. This is our segment we call Getting Soft with the Community. That's right. This is where we
Oh god, it sounds so dirty. I'm so sorry, chat.
pull up,
Everything we do sounds dirty.
pull
Although
up
I
your,
told Boom I
pull up
wanted
your
it to be
kilts.
getting hard. It's getting hard. Worse.
No, but
Worse.
you want to do that, but
It
I
gets
was
you
like,
in more trouble.
yeah, soft is what we're all about. We're about softness, right? This is a cuddle time.
Softness.
We're cuddling with our community right now.
Just close your eyes and go, Grandma.
Yeah, pull up your kilts.
Oh god.
You know, just kind of chill
Love it.
out. Yeah, it's good. Get your glow on. It's gonna be a wild ride. Well, we got a couple more things, right? So we wanted to talk. We're posting this in show notes. I think we're gonna post all these in show notes. I don't think we're not gonna play all these, but we have a monk video from Fragile who's in chat, and you learned a lot, Militus.
2 videos from Fragile.
Fragile.
Videos, two
Fragile.
That's two. Fragile. Yeah, we call them lots of. We will butcher everybody's name, so just get used to that. We do that on purpose. So just, it's a term of endearment.
It just means
If
we
start-
love you that much
yeah,
more.
if we start messing with you, right, it's because we like that. Yeah,
It's a sign of affection.
right. There you
Listen, I never played a monk class in EQ. I didn't know anything about it. I thought they
Right.
just walk up and hit people.
go. Yeah, it's
But
like
then
that.
I learned all this really cool stuff about split pools using feign death in his video. He put one out yesterday, I think today, over raid. Yeah, raid and loot, and that was great. Kind of talking about his perspectives there. Go give it a watch.
Mhm.
Fragile makes some great content. Go
Yes,
check
it
his
does.
stuff out.
Gotta
Sure.
check it out at Pantheon.plus. I bet.
Who's that?
At Pantheon.
So everyone knows
This
this
is
was my
someone way
feed.
too cool.
This was my fee. They're like, "Will you be on the show?" I'm like, "Listen, I better be featured in that soft."
There you go. Yeah, you wanted to be featured in the Getting Soft with the Community. All right. Well, you have officially done that. All right, we've gotten soft with you.
Yeah, they have the Paladin tank class video, which if you ever want to kind of
I
Tess,
can't wait to
you
watch.
gotta
I have to watch it. I have to watch
You
it.
gotta
Yeah.
watch him and I kind of break down the Paladin tank class. Pretty cool stuff. I have one exception with your video, Minus.
Is it that Haya's a hater?
No. You're like, Paladins were former clerics, and you kind of talk about them in this elevated status that they left
They've evolved. Yeah.
clerichood. And that sort of pissed me off. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you because
Oh my
see,
goodness.
we don't have no time for no damn paladins. Like if you're too good to stay with us clerics, just move on down the road.
My
Well,
goodness,
in all
my
fairness, I say us paladins, even though it's gonna be like an all frame, but us paladins, we left you those dirty dark mirrors. So at least we did that for you.
Beautiful clerics.
Oh my lord.
Now I will say that
I'm rubbing his
underneath,
shield right now.
yeah,
Look,
underneath
Tess.
that armor,
Getting
there's
soft
some
with
muscle
cleric.
going on. Yeah, there's at least an 8-pack under there.
Well, we don't have neon glowing kilts, but
And they can down an 8-pack.
They can
That's
down an 8-pack.
exactly-
There you go. They can down an 8-pack. They've got an 8-pack. It's dwarves are good, cool. I'll go ahead and give that to.
and
I'll
don't
give
forget
that to him.
about Battle Axe, man. He brought the preach video. This you see this Minus. I mean, he was talking
I
about
haven't
what's
watched it yet. Is it awesome?
About what's been going wrong with MMOs, and the whole time I'm like, Preach,
Guys,
brother. Preach.
don't even watch my video, and I'm not even saying this to be like, if you haven't watched Battle Axe,
Yes.
just watch any video where Def is ranting. It
All
is
right.
the
All right.
most enjoyable experience. I'm not kidding. I never knew these guys before I met him in Pantheon. It is so great, and the editing is so phenomenal. And then when you talk to him in Discord, it's exactly the
He's the
same.
same guy.
It's so good. Oh, it's so wonderful. It's the highlight of my night if I'm in a chat with Def. It's a fantastic experience. Yeah, he's great.
That's great. That's great. And we got a Basgrim video, 5 minutes long lore video. Basgrim's got everything, right? He's all
Yeah,
about it.
and if you're new to Pantheon, I know a lot of people that are in chat are not, but a lot of our listeners may be because they came over from the WoW community. When to get a 5-minute fix of the lore of Pantheon, check that video out. Like, it's a 5 minutes of your time, and it paints a beautiful, I think, starting picture for you going forward.
Right.
To watch.
Right. I think all these videos are absolutely just so wonderful because it really does. We've got some time before the game releases, and it's nice to sort of have people putting content, being creative, coming up with some new ideas on just, you know, what we're going to be expecting, and just building that hype. I'm having a blast listening to all these people come up with this stuff. So go and check them out at Pantheon.plus. We'll have all the links as well in our show notes. Obviously, we'll post that everywhere we go, but we can definitely do that. Let's go ahead and move on to shout-outs, folks. What anybody got any shout-outs they want to shout out? I want to shout out right off the bat. Thank you, Minus, so much for coming and joining us. Do you think this is a possibility in the future that maybe sometime you'll come and join us again?
Yeah, anytime, guys. Honestly, this is a blast. So
All
I had a
right.
really good time. I just talk too much, so you need a mute button. For me.
No way.
No,
Get that
not
set
at
up, you're
all.
good.
Can't compete
Now, if
with
you start
us.
getting out of line, I'll start treating you like Tess, and I'll just
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just play sheep noises the whole
So-
time.
So you're the one that's muting her mic. It's been solved.
Yes, yes,
They're so mean to me.
yes.
Ugh,
love
why
you.
my friends are horrible people.
And that's why they're our friends.
We have really good
Hey, what about
identity, though.
chat? We got to throw some shout out to the chat. for
Oh yeah,
joining.
100%.
Oh,
Chat
these
was
community
so great
members.
tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Love it.
We really
Love it so
hope
much.
all you chat folks will come and join us again next week, Wednesday. We love having you here. We'll definitely we've got some more people lined up that are going to be on the show, so come out and support all of them. We got lots of community members. We're going to be doing more of this where we have some different people just kind of stopping by, giving us their perspective, adding to the conversation, and who knows, we could someday we might have full naked Arkai. I don't know. Full
Hell,
Monty.
someday we might get Def on here, and I can trigger him into this crazy rant.
Yes, let's do that. I want to hear a rant. I want to hear. We've never really had a rant, like a, let me tell you some sort of rant. Okay, all right, I'm ready for it. I would love to have a rant sometime, so that'd be great. As always, I always give a shout out to Jeremy W. at Oak Productions for the wonderful music that you hear now, and also I want to just tell you. If you would like to support us in any possible way, a follow on Twitch supports us, helps us. And also, if you are one of those Amazon Prime people and you like to do that, and you have your little Amazon Prime sub and you'd like to toss us a couple bucks, it keeps the servers running. We do appreciate that. And other than that, guys, do you have anything else to add?
I'll give
Nothing.
a little.
Go for it.
I'm really excited about this. So, we're gonna be finishing up our Warrior video tomorrow, but more importantly, we're gonna do something that Pantheon Plus really wants to get into. Kind of like tonight, doing some joint content. I'm really excited to announce that our versus video for tanks is actually going to feature Battle Axe Theater. So we're going to have a four-person versus battle going through the tanks. I really would like to do Pantheon Plus versus Battle Axe, but Haya's a bastard and he doesn't like Paladins, so I'm going to disagree with him. So it's going to just be all-out war. So we're kind of excited. And I will tell you guys, some people have asked like more times getting us all together in chats. One of our big thing is going to be working together to do cool community events, even if it's jumping on a game together or having a chat night. So that's going to come. That's another part of Community Matters. We want to have as many people reachable as possible.
That is awesome. When is that coming? Did I miss that? I might have not caught
that. I think not this Thursday, not tomorrow, but next Thursday probably.
But sometime pretty soon. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think as to piggyback on what you're talking about, Minus, I think we need to have a little maybe Pantheon community beers and Cards Against Humanity night.
Oh my
God!
No.
That sounds fun.
No.
All right.
Yeah,
I like it.
We will
I like
that. You heard it here first. It's happening.
All right. I love that idea. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining. Ladies and gentlemen in the chats, you were wonderful. But on that note, we are out.
Come be an evil murder death hobo.